Peter, it looks like Bo Nix has been virtually impossible to sack this season. I'm sure you know the numbers. One time. What can you guys do to try to throw him off his rhythm a little bit, and just kind of get some sort of pressure on him to change what his comfort zone back there?
Well, it is a huge challenge, as you're reminding me. But this is, when offenses play well, they do a really good job of building some different formations, implementing tempo when they feel it's appropriate. I think the way you get sacks is obviously having an efficient pass rush in terms of lane integrity, and then having the opportunity of getting him to hold the ball. And getting him to hold the ball, can be built a couple different ways. Tight coverage where the windows aren't very, they're not good windows to throw into, or you end up trying to disguise some pictures. So we're deep into game planning in terms of that regard, and we got a couple days to put that plan together. But he's very talented, and they're doing a great job on offense.
Is there a different way you have to rush a passer who can run the ball as well as he does? You have to almost contain more than kind of just coming hard at him, which allows him maybe to escape and start running?
Jeff, that is a huge balancing act. And throughout this conference, it's sometimes you end up talking yourself out of rushing the quarterback when the narrative is he can't escape, and then ultimately you find yourself playing a pocket passer and playing 7-on-7. And so that's the balancing act that you have to live in, and kind of where I think there's a happy medium on letting guys go. But like anything, if it's run integrity or pass rush integrity, there is angles and there is leverage that everyone needs to use.
And so do you to sort of pick your spots in the game to change up?
I think it's it could be a spot. It could be a particular call where we have access to more people, or we have access to somebody that can put an eye on him. So I think within the call, in the context of the game is when you'll see it.
Thanks.
Okay, we'll go to Jim McGill. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey, Peter, typically when your defensive backfield's been beat earlier this season, it's been pretty close coverage where the offense just made a really good play, but it seemed like there were a lot more guys that were pretty wide open, especially in the second half this last game. Was there some common thread with what your DBs were doing, or was there something that Washington was exploiting? Was it just speed on their side? Any common thread you can put your finger on?
Well, there were two that I can think of that were in man, and we ended up not playing a coverage the way that it's designed to be played. There's two of them in particular I can think of that were in what I call MEG, man everywhere you go. So there's no zone, there's no high load, there's nothing to get spaced, and we made one communication error, and then we made really an execution error on the second one that I'm thinking about. But those are the two that really kind of stand out to me. There were some layered concepts, or some sail concepts that took the top off, and there was a deep and intermediate and a shallow route, and then some zone concepts you will get spaced vertically in those, and we have to come down and be able to tackle a little bit better on the short part of the route.
You see those as largely fixable problems?
Yeah, I mean, it's fixable problems are, we have to continue working on tackling. I think the space game in which we play in this conference, and everybody plays in college football, if the first guy or the allocated player to make the tackle, if he misses, it does, the play does go on, and it typically rips you for some big yards.
How do you balance feeling good about holding a team to 14 below their season average versus maybe not doing enough to get a win?
For us, holding them below a season average is irrelevant. Our job on defense is to put, to score have them score less. So whatever the offense is providing, we need to do a better job of and keep that number below what our offense is scoring.
Thanks.
Then we'll go to Steve Kroner from the San Francisco Chronicle.
appear the past 3 seasons, I think you can say your defense contained Oregon probably as well as any defense has in the Pac-12. So can you take confidence from that, or do you think, well, there's so much different now with Oregon, the quarterback, the head coach, the running backs, that even though you've had past success, that it doesn't necessarily apply come Saturday afternoon?
I wish I could package some of those prior games and be assured of playing the same way. Every year, Steve, in our opinion, how we game plan is independent. There is so much change up there. There are some players that we are familiar with that have carried over, but in terms of how they're structuring things, how they're calling the game, how they're playing the game, the quarterback, there couldn't be a bigger change in a program than when a new quarterback comes in. For us, it's a bigger deal that there's a new quarterback than there is a new head coach. So those are the things that we have to, concern ourselves with. And in his style of play at quarterback, he's thrown the ball extremely efficiently. I think he's over 71% completions. He has not thrown the ball to the other team very often, and they're not taking sacks. So that's the biggest concern that we have.
Great, thank you.
And we'll go to Jesse Stewart from Rivals.
I was just wondering if, when you guys kind of look back and review Oregon this week or in the weeks prior as well, do you guys see any teams that they've played that play a similar style to you? And do you see some things that they did well or not so well, or is there no one that's really comparable to what you guys do?
Everybody has some things that we can look at and find some information. For the way we look and kind of how we identify the opponents is we try to find defenses that share our spacing. Is it 3 down? Is it 4 down? What do they do in terms of coverage? Is it more middle open, middle closed? So we try to find some similarities. And really there's a significant amount of similarities in college football. They're very similar to offense. You see a lot of the same plays on offense. You see a lot of the same structures. And conversely, you see a lot of those same things on defense as well, because they provide the durability to play multiple formations, multiple personnel groups, and multiple plays. So we look at some of those things, and we can find, typically you can find some good relative comparisons versus most opponents.
Sweet. And then kind of a follow-up on that. So when you're looking, you're doing self-scouting and you're talking about what they do against shells that are similar to yours, do you guys have anything that you might be, obviously not specifics, but anything that continuously gives you guys problems that you see Oregon does well, or that you anticipate Oregon might do? Or is there things that you just need to rep it out a little bit more? Does that make sense? I don't know if that was clear.
No, yeah, it makes sense. There's not anything that I would say that is a consistent issue. There's always techniques and fundamentals and the ability to finish plays on defense. But we typically cycle through calls pretty efficiently that, if something's starting to give us some fits, we have the capability of changing some of the shells and changing some of the leverage to try to put those fires out. And typically when you do that, a new fire pops up. So, we just have to continue working our style of defense and getting better techniques and fundamentals.